We apologize for that slight hitch. You're watching Democracy and the Rule of Law commentary from Galaxy Television. My name is Justin Academy. On the show this afternoon, we will be focusing on two topics. I'll be looking at the Osun Governorship Tussle and, of course, the state of security in Nigeria. What would the Senate summoning the Inspector General of Police? Like always, would want you to interact with us as we progress on the show. We have legal practitioners who will be discussing all of those issues with us. Now, the Justice Judgement-led panel of the Court of Appeal on Wednesday reserved its judgment on the appeal of Governor Adegboyega Oyetola of Osun State, filed to set aside the tribunal verdict that sacked him from office. Oyetola, who was candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, is praying the appellate court to nullify the declaration by the Osun State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal that Senator Ademola Adeleke of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) was the valid winner of the governorship election that held in the state in September 2018. The five-man panel adjourned to determine whether the tribunal was right or wrong after all the parties argued and adopted their respective briefs of argument. In his 39th ground of appeal, Oyetola urged the appellate court to reverse the majority decision of the tribunal that voided his return as winner of the Osun governorship contest, describing it as perverse. Arguing through his lawyer, Chief Wole Olanipekun-San, Oyetola insisted that it was wrong for a member of the tribunal panel, Justice Peter Obiora, who did not attend the entire proceedings of the tribunal, to deliver the lead judgment that removed him from office. We'll be looking at all of the implications of this in a moment. Let's just give you a highlight from the court sitting last week. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Distinguished colleagues, you will be astonished to hear that the kidnappers had the audacity to ride and warn a member representing Bindingwari local government in the House of Representatives, Honorable Hassan Adamu.
Before the Court of Appeal. The first appeal was filed by the person who was declared elected. The second appeal was filed by the APC. And then the third appeal was filed by INEC. And there is yet a fourth appeal, which is a cross appeal, filed by Chief Senator Adeleke. And that is the one we filed. They all relate to the same judgment of the tribunal. And the appeals are challenging the findings made, and of course we responded, but there are certain minor areas where we felt the tribunal ought to also, in addition to granting us judgment, also ought to have ruled in our favor, and that is the consequence of the cross appeal.
Okay, so are you saying the four appeals that were filed, judgment reserved in all of them?
Yes, all of them, judgment reserved. They were fully heard and judgment reserved. And the tribunal, the Court of Appeal has maybe another 20 days within which to deliver the judgment.
So briefly, what was in the cross appeal, the grounds of the cross appeal?
Well, that we were able to, the tribunal found that we established non-compliance with respect to 17 polling units. We argued that we established non-compliance in much more, and also with respect to the nullity of the supplementary election, we have reviewed that INEC had no right whatsoever, and that the prayers we advanced contending that INEC has no statutory power to assume a quasi-judicial authority and start cancelling polling unit results in order to favor any given candidate. We felt that they don't have that power.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back from that report. You're still watching Democracy and the Rule of Law commentary from Galaxy Television. We have two legal practitioners on the show right now. Let's make welcome all the way from Ogun State, legal practitioner Olubayo Durojaye. Many thanks for joining us on Democracy and the Rule of Law.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Good afternoon to you. And also joining us as well is a friend of the house, legal practitioner and human rights activist, human rights lawyer, Justice Ohuegbu. Many thanks for joining us on Democracy and the Rule of Law.
It is my pleasure once more.
All right, let us talk about this governorship tussle in Osun State. It has been on for a while, and right now, you know, the Justice Jumai Sankey panel has reserved judgment on the appeal of Adegboyega Oyetola. But let me just start from what the counsel to Oyetola said in his 39 ground of appeal. He argued that it was wrong for a member of the tribunal panel, Justice Peter Obiora, who did not attend the entire proceedings of the tribunal, to deliver the lead judgment that removed him from office. How did that meet you?
Well, the judgment of the tribunal has been delivered, and definitely you expect that politicians will bring all sorts of applications and asking, you know, that decision should be quashed before the Court of Appeal. The question is, you have to prove that a member of the tribunal who was not sitting all through the tribunal delivered the judgment. That also has to be proved before the Court of Appeal. If you supply your proofs and the Court of Appeal finds in your favor, then maybe. But the question I also want us to look at is that, is there any provisions of the law that says that if a member who did not sit all through cannot deliver the judgment? I'm not aware of any. I don't know. But still, even if you have to prove to the court that I did not sit. But I don't believe that a member of the tribunal who is duly, you know, appointed to sit over that tribunal will not sit all through, and then you will wait for that as a ground of appeal. For me, it is an excuse. Because even if he did not sit, though it is expected that anybody who is a judge, part of the proceedings is that you watch the proceedings, you listen to the evidence, you hear what is going on, so that even when you are delivering the judgments, it will, or when you are writing the judgment, sorry, it will form part of your opinion while writing the judgment. So the judgment could be written by another person and be read by a member of the panel who was not even sitting. So I don't really see that as much trouble, because if the proceedings was taking place in line with the provisions of the law, and a member of that tribunal delivered immediately, reading the judgment, has nothing to do with the merit of the case itself. Okay. If it was not there, the judgment was written, wrote it, delivered it, there is not an issue. But if you bring an application and the Court of Appeal feels that, oh, somebody who did not partake, delivered the judgment, something is wrong with it, which I believe, well, there is a principle of justice that says that you cannot give what you don't have. Okay. Definitely. You must have been part of the proceedings, watch the proceedings, and see how it played out. But all the same, we will leave it to the Court of Appeal to see what the Court of Appeal has to say about that particular ground of appeal. Okay, Barrister Justice, what do you have to say concerning that?
Well, I think the truth is that, well, every lawyer will always want to look for a lacuna, or what you feel that is a lacuna. Even when there is none, you try to create one in your own imagination. That is why we are lawyers anyway. You understand the thing, and that is why you see what is playing, that is playing there. But let us also understand something. My brother said something which is perfectly right. But remember that on appeal, you don't call fresh witnesses. Okay. In fact, you file your appeal on grounds of one grounds or the other. And the duty of the presiding judges is to look at the grounds you file with what has been done by the court of first instance. Yes. It is a different thing. It's a departure of the principle that says a judge, a sitting judge, one person, must sit and watch the demeanor of parties before delivering judgment. But here you're talking on an appeal where you're dealing with documents before the court. Yes. They got to weigh the documents because you have filed, you have front-loaded everything you want to file. Yeah. The judges will look at them, compare it with what they have on ground or the judgment, and see if there's any miscarriage of justice based on what is on the paper.
Very well.
So the issue of a judge was not present or this it does not apply. That is one. Secondly, there are 3 justices sitting.
Yes, they are.
And most times, 2 might give the same judgment in favor, while 1 may disagree.
Yeah.
If 1 disagree, does not mean that that judgment is invalid, because the law says 2 to 1 or 3. But when the 3 of them agree with the judgment, let's even assume that, let's say there is 1 now who has disagreed with the judgment and 2 has agreed with the judgment of the tribunal. Does it invalidate it?
Okay.
I don't know where the argument is coming from. But like I said, you try to create one
Argument
or the other. I don't think that ground is a reasonable ground as far as I'm concerned.
In fact, there is another school of thought that says that can be killed by an affidavit.
Of course, that's what I'm trying.
It's a simple thing. It can be killed by an affidavit.
If you even look at what played on the floor of the on the court that day, even the judges somehow tackled it. And remember, even the lawyers to Adeleke even tried to squash, because we've been following the procedure, because there are even decided cases and all the rest to that. But be it as it may, the Court of Appeal has reserved a date for judgment. Let's watch and see what will happen. But the truth about this is this. If you look at the whole team, the way it's going, you see, ex factum, non-argumentatum sunt. Where the facts are there, there's no need for an argument. Except, let me put it that way. We are watching.
Okay, if the facts are there and there's no need for argument, how come they just want to look for lacunas according to you? Because the truth is that, is it not like a waste of court processes and time, knowing that what you're saying does not really hold water?
You see, one of the things that has played out in Nigeria, most of the time, is that politics and law will never meet. The politicians will keep playing politics to make sure that even the law is rubbished and the law does not take its course. Now, there are facts laid before the courts. These things are glaring. In fact, if you look at the situation, it has always been an attitude by the politicians to make sure that they frustrate and delay the proceedings so that the person who has been elected, who is supposedly being in office, will finish that tenure. You understand? In the past, we've had times in which matters are before the courts and somebody is challenging the fact that the person who is returned as a governor of that state is not supposed to be sitting on that seat. And yet that played out for almost 4 years. And then, the whole thing goes and he has fulfilled it. Now, what I'm trying to say is this. It is not possible for you to keep using politics to push the law to an end. The law also will react. The law is very clear on this. The judgment has been reserved. If judgment is delivered, if Adeleke is, the judgment of the tribunal is quashed, it means Adeleke also has the opportunity to go place further facts, look at the judgment of the Court of Appeal, and appeal to the Supreme Court. Then that takes another time, because that is the court of final decision. So as it is, even with the facts and with the law that we have before us, one thing is very clear. Politics and law will not meet. And then justice, most of the time, if you look at this situation, even right from the beginning, constitutional lawyer had said severally that the declaration of the election to be inconclusive is unconstitutional. So those are some of the things that will still even play out in appeal and the Supreme Court. So facts are very clear.
We have to take a break right now. We'll still talk more on the Osun Governorship tussle, but we have yet another legal practitioner joining us. We'll take a quick break and then bring him up. Still, democracy and the rule of law. Keep your comments and your questions, if any, coming. We'll take them as we proceed. In a moment, we'll return. Do join us again.
before the Court of Appeal. The first appeal was filed by the person who was declared elected. The second appeal was filed by the APC. And then the third appeal was filed by INEC. And there is yet a fourth appeal, which is a cross appeal, filed by Chief Senator Adeleke. And that is the one we filed. They all relate to the same judgment of the tribunal. And the appeals are challenging the findings made. And of course, we responded. But there are certain minor areas where we felt the tribunal ought to also, in addition to granting us judgment, also ought to have ruled in our favor. And that is the consequence of the cross appeal.
Okay, so are you saying the four appeals that were filed, judgment reserved and all of them?
Yes, all of them, judgment reserved. They were fully heard and judgment reserved. And the tribunal, the Court of Appeal has maybe another 20 days within which to deliver the judgment.
So briefly, what was in your cross appeal, the grounds of the cross appeal?
Well, that we were able
All right, welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Democracy and the Rule of Law on Galaxy Television. We have yet another legal practitioner joining us in this discourse. Let's make welcome Barrister Ayo Ademiluyi. Many thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Just before we took that break, just before you joined us, we were talking about the Osun Governorship Tussle vis-a-vis all of the matters that have been presented in the appeal. But how would you really, sum the whole process up? Because a School of Law believes it's just like almost like a waste of court process, or what do you think, really?
I'm aware that the matter is already before the Court of Appeal, without prejudice to what will be the final adjudication of the matter at the Court of Appeal.
Okay.
I believe the Court of Appeal is being invited to make pronouncements on a whole lot of issues that bedevil our electoral process. First and foremost is the issue of whether or not the Independent National Electoral Commission can unilaterally summon a rerun in the name of an inconclusive election. Number two is whether or not the outcome of a supplementary election can be adjudged to be part of the final results of an election, even after a declaration has been made to the fact that a particular candidate A or B has won that election in any circumstance. The third one is still on the knotty issue of card reader. And those are issues that haven't gone on before now, but I think the Court of Appeal is being invited to make every pronouncement on all of these issues. Without prejudice to the submissions my learned friends on this panel have also made, I'm on the view that the matter being appealed at the Court of Appeal is of very great importance to our electoral jurisprudence. Also is because if you look at the circumstances under which the election itself was held, it was held amidst a lot of, if you permit me, intimidation of the voters in that part of the world. Remember that there was a feeling in the generality of people over there that they needed a regime change without, affiliating to any political tendencies whatsoever. But that was the election of the election that preceded the 2019 election, and it was held under very, very naughty circumstances. I think it's part of the court is being invited now to make pronouncements so that we can make further reforms in our electoral jurisprudence.
Okay, I have a message before I continue with Barrister Olubayo and Barrister Justice. Peter from Bauchi says, my big greetings goes to Barrister Justice Uhegbu. May God Almighty bring forth more people like him to speak the truth always. When would Buhari, Tinubu, Oshomale and others I don't want to use this adjective that you use here, and other APC members give Nigeria and Nigerians true freedom and liberty to enjoy what God has destined this country for. Good day, guys, and happy Sunday. APC knows that they won the election by force, and I believe they will lose the appeal. Jacob from Agege here in Lagos. This particular one is not really related to what we're taking, so I won't take that one. Keep the messages coming, and keep your feedbacks as well coming. If you have questions, feel free to ask. But both the APC and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, told the tribunal that they were in support of the appeal, even as they urged the appellate court to vacate the judgment that was delivered in Adeleke's favor. Looking at before they went to the appeal court, looking at what came out from the tribunal, what does all of that tell of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC? Barrister Bio.
Now, I want us to understand the fact that the action taken by INEC is the provisions of the law.
Okay.
They have the right to do that. But the problem we have now is the provisions of the Electoral Acts and the provisions of the Constitution. The provision of the Constitution is very clear. Section 173, if I'm correct now. The provisions that is made under the Electoral Act that INEC can, make guidelines to guide electoral processes in instances in which the votes, the cancelled votes are more than the margin victory of the two parties. INEC has that power. Now, INEC has exercised that power, but the question is it in tandem with the provisions of the Constitution? And that is exactly one of the challenges we have now. The provisions of the Constitution, most of the time, in Section 1 to Section 123, has said that the Constitution is supreme. So in most instances, even when a particular law is at loggerheads with the provisions of the Constitution is supposed to prevail. And the provision of the Constitution is very clear how a candidate should emerge when it comes to such election. So the question we are still having here is, INEC has exercised its power. Now, can we say that that power exercised by INEC is in line with the provision of the Constitution? And if it is not in line with the provision of the Constitution, what happens? Because if it is not, and let me say this, the power granted to INEC under that law, Electoral Act, can be exercised mala fide. Yes, it can be exercised with malice. It can be exercised with an intention to support a particular party to win. And that is one of the reasons why, Nigerians are crying that the margin is clear. This person has won. Declare him as winner. But there is a particular provisions in the law that granted you power to nullify election based on the fact that there is the margin of victory and the council. Okay, what gives us an assurance that if there is a rerun, the same thing will not still play out? If the same thing plays out, then we keep going on and on and on and on. So the question is, the power even granted to INEC under the Electoral Act is ultra virus. The power, such power should be reserved to the court. The court should be able to exercise such power to determine whether cancelled votes, valid votes, all those ones are to be counted, are to be part of all those things, because the provisions of electoral can make INEC to exercise its power mala fide in support of a particular party.
Okay, but I'll come to you. Let me just
see, if we're talking about this, the truth is that there are already decided cases on that. In fact, even the case of Osun, the Court of Appeal also held that cancelled votes have no life. You see, the only thing is just that, like you say, we're playing politics with everything. Yes. Secondly, the Electoral Act is an enabling status. With the provisions of the Electoral Act override the provisions of the Constitution. When the Constitution simplicity have said that every law or any law that runs inconsistency with the provisions of the Constitution to the extent of its inconsistency is null and void. The Constitution simply stated how somebody can be declared winner. Simple majority. What does simple majority mean? If you have one more than me, is it not simple majority? So the issue of, you see, this thing we are talking is just that INEC is playing to the gallery, as far as I'm concerned. And I keep on telling Nigerians, until we have an independent INEC, we don't have an independent INEC. That is just the truth. Because we're still playing the mantra of he who pays the piper, dictates the tune. And that is why there are causing confusion everywhere. That is why it seems confusion. And that is why also the reason why the judiciary should live above board now. To make sure that we safeguard this democracy. Because let me tell you, I have said this before and I'll keep on saying it. Any country, the executive may fail, the legislative may fail, but any country that judiciary fails, that country is gone. And we should not allow ourselves to be dragged to that extent. I said something about creating lacunas. When a lawyer is playing to the gallery, you will know, even when you're not a lawyer. You will know. Forget all these gimmicks. But the truth is this, we are taught in the law school, when we were in the law school, that your first duty as a lawyer is first to the state. Second to your client before to yourself. But today, the reverse is the case. Yes. No, most of those are no longer talking about, maintaining the integrity of the state, of the country, of justice. That in fact, part of our rules is even that you should not even withhold any evidence that will be favorable to your opponent.
Okay.
But today, how many lawyers are doing that? Because when we talk about justice, we want to see justice being done. And not only being done, justice being seen to, because you see, for the litigants outside here, the whole thing has become a mockery. The way the executive and judiciary is being seen now, in fact, many people are even seeing the judiciary now as worst.
All right. Okay.
Then why are we not saying that judiciary is the last hope of the common man? Okay. Every little thing you rush to court, every little thing you rush to court, like he rightly said, just to buy time, just to delay, and all the rest.
Okay, Barrister,
just to add to the submissions of my friends, I think I agree very well with the submission of Mr. Olubayi as to the limit of 769. I think it's pretty well to thank that when case of Anik and explained into the doctrine of coming on feet, especially as to the powers of INEC. And the reality is that INEC cannot exercise any power over and above the law, which is the constitution. So the reality is that there is limits to the powers of INEC. As he has said, when there is a clear-cut case of the simple majority, the duty of INEC is to pronounce the candidates as winner. It is now left to the court as the umpire to determine whether or not the election was validly, the election was validly won by that candidate or not. So INEC should, the independence of INEC is rooted in the constitutionality of its powers and not in the demonstration of unconstitutionalism.
Okay, let us take more comments before we continue right now. Hi Galaxy and the guests, my name is Phil Arebaman. My take is, it's so glaring that the PDP won the Osun polls, but INEC and APC colluded in obtaining the wish of the people. We are watching. All right, this one says, hello, the issue of Osun, everybody knows that APC has robbed the PDP. Okay, please, if you write us, let us know your name and where you're writing us from. APC has won the election. If rerun is not in electoral law, rerun will not take place in 6 states in 2019 general election. The tribunal that declared Adeleke as a winner is not a law court. They don't recognize rerun, but appellate court recognize rerun. Gentlemen, you will actually respond to that soon. This one says, how can someone with that common O-level certificate rule a state like Osun? It really is ridiculous. If my grandfather can have the same result at 84 years, well, that message was truncated. It's Peter from Bauchi again. We cannot be celebrating independence or democracy when some few people have turned Nigeria to their personal affair. Nigeria and Nigerians need freedom from APC and wrong and wicked politicians in power. Let the will of the people prevail. I want you all to respond to what they said about the rerun. Let me read that again. APC has won the election. If rerun is not in the electoral law, rerun will not take place in 6 states in 2019 general election. The tribunal that declared Adeleke as a winner is not a law court. They don't recognize rerun, but appeal court recognize rerun. What truth is there? Is there any truth in what this one said? You are the lawyers. The reality is that the
statutory elections under which the electoral tribunals are constituted empower those tribunals to determine the validity of elections, whether or not they were properly led, whether or not candidates in those elections actually won those votes and all that. And they also have the powers to notify electoral reruns and all that. Of course, they are different from the regular courts,
Yes.
but within that statutory framework, they have that enabling power. So I think it should not, the commentator should not get that misled as it is. Now, of course, decisions of the Election Petition Tribunal can be appealed in the Court of Appeal as the case is being done
Right
now.
now,
So the Court of Appeal itself, as an appellate court, can equally make judicial pronouncements on issues being laid before it and all of that. So, but I think the commentator should get the background very clear.
Okay.
The Election Petition Tribunal has that power.
Okay, let me hear from you, Barrister.
Well, basically, I think we have gone past the issue of rerun. There had been a rerun already, and the judgment of the tribunal is saying that the election that took place in the first time, that declared Adeleke winner, is the valid election. Now, the validity of that election is what was brought before the tribunal. I mean, the issues that surrounded all the things that happened was brought before the tribunal, and the tribunal said no. Whether there was a rerun, a supplementary election or not, the election that took place, I think September 22nd, is the one that brought in the governor of Osun State, issue in a certificate of return to get to the office and exercise his power. We have gone beyond the issue of rerun. Now, the issue before us as Nigerians and before the court now is whether the courts, the judgment of the tribunal, is good enough for our polity. Progressing from there, because the tribunal look at the fact, and a lot of mathematics are involved. They have looked at the fact, they have looked at the mathematics, they have looked at the votes, council, just like Mr. Justice said. Even council vote does not have in place. It's been laid down. That one has been decided. But the question now is, the decision of the tribunal is that Adeleke is one that should be returned to the office. Is that judgment so valid to return? Because there are other things surrounding it now. The question is, the judgment has been delivered, but Oyetola is not obeying the judgment because he has appealed. Now that he has appealed, if the appeal upturns that judgment, Adeleke also has another turn to appeal. And even if it is upheld, that politicians will always do what they want to do. There will always be an appeal until the Supreme Court make a final decision. That's what they can leave. So rerun is not an issue anymore. Okay. But what we are even saying is that even that rerun was illegal.
Okay.
Was it legal?
Your thoughts on that?
Well, the truth is that we are all Nigerians and we are following events. Apart from being lawyers, we are all Nigerians. And in 2015 election made every Nigerian to be politically aware now and independent. In fact, the age mothers in the village now, everybody wants to participate in politics because of the way the whole thing happened in 2015. The truth about the matter is this. That's why I said earlier. The whole thing, I see it as a legal gimmick, as a drama. Because if you look at it very well and face reality, the tribunal said, as at the time of the first election has been concluded and a winner has also emerged.
Yes.
So the issue of going to the second rider of a rerun does not apply in the first place. If you look at the whole thing holistically, you will discover that from my own interpretation and the holistic look at the whole thing, that tribunal, they were right in that judgment. But definitely, like he said, a drowning man will always want to, flex muscles. But now that the matter is before the Supreme Court, it's even better. It's even better the appeal court made a pronouncement on the issue of declaring an election inconclusive. In the first place, when you're declaring an election inconclusive, what are the facts that you place on the table to declare election inconclusive. And the past time, elections may be declared inconclusive, or maybe if you decide not to do election in some areas for one reason or the other. But not that after election results are you yourself, the INEC officer, cancelled results.
Yeah.
And you are now trying to rely on that. Legality cannot arise out of illegality.
Okay.
That is one thing people should always understand. Most of them are not lawyers. Some of them that are talking, they are talking from impulse as politicians, having one flay or the other for one political party or the other. But we have gone beyond political party here. We are talking about safeguarding the democracy of this country and actually making INEC to live above board and do the right thing, irrespective of who appointed you. Let me tell you, I've told Yakubu earlier before, no matter who appointed you, you're INEC chairman of Nigeria, not INEC chairman of APC or Buhari.
Of course.
If you appointed a minister, you're a minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes.
You see, this is one thing they are always forgetting, these politicians.
Exactly.
Okay.
Whether we like it or not, we must look at these whole things holistically and do the right thing at any point in time. It may be you tomorrow, it may be me.
Okay.
Because a law you make today, thinking that it will benefit you, may haunt you in future.
Next thing. All right. Let's take more comments so we can progress and see if we can talk about security soon. Okay, how can someone with that... Okay, I've taken this one. You had to send it all over again. Denko from Dokbemul here in Lagos sent this one in. The rightful winner of the election was Adeleke. Any contrary view against the decision of the tribunal will be against both popular and judicial justice. I don't know what judicial justice is. I expect the judges of the Court of Appeal to give a judgment that will serve as deterrent to every party at the top to stop conducting elections that do not conform with the international standards. As I speak, many youth are disappointed with INEC. Hence, the issue of inconclusive elections is obnoxious and tailored towards favoring the ruling party. Nigerians are looking up to the court system. Okay, let's see. Please explain what happened in Kogi State as regards to Osun election rerun. This one says that please, APC should give Adeleke his mandate. The election was rigged by intimidation with their inconclusive. Okay, I don't really get that part. It was truncated. The PDP clearly won that election, but APC chose to do the opposite by colliding, that's what you said here, colluding with INEC to rob the PDP of their desired mandate. Innocent Mary from Owerri, that's from Imo State. Kodri Bashir from Akpata, the holy prayer we should be praying is that may God not let... okay, I don't get that. Good afternoon, sirs. My name is Jimo Mosudi from Lagos. My take is, what is going to happen if judgment went in favor of Senator Adeleke, because the same thing happened in the previous Kogi State governorship election? PDP should sit down. They are, you said they are criminals. Adeleke is the real winner of the election. Justice should serve without any delay. Osun people vote for Adeleke, or voted for Adeleke, not Oyetola, Oyekunle, Oyeniyi from Iwo in Osun State. Iwo. All right, there is no democracy in Nigeria again. What we witnessed today is military democracy, but the good thing is that we must change the narrative when we assume the leadership in future. Politics is, again, not a kill or die affair. Ati Teresa Joshua from Kaduna, happy Sunday. There's so much. Let me see if I can just take one because of time. Okay. Bamos from Lagos. The issue of Osun, everybody knows that Adeleke won the election and APC robbed him. Okay, let me see. There's more coming. Let me just scan through. If I can just take just one. Okay, when the election of Kogi State was declared inconclusive, when Audu was leading before his demise, nothing like PDP or any so-called lawyers raising eyebrows. Why now? I have been saying that the so-called lawyers are just tools in the hands of politicians. All right, gentlemen, very quickly, maybe in 30 seconds, let's just conclude our way forward in this matter so we can talk about security and the Senate summoning the IGP on that. So what's the way forward in all of this? Let's talk about governance right now. A lot of people say there seems to be a bit of distraction in Osun State, and the residents and the people of the state are not really getting the right governance because of all of this distraction. Do you agree, all of you?
In a way, I agree with that. Without the fact that personally, I'm from Osun State.
Oh, really?
The state has been a signature of, to me, misgovernance for more than 8 years. We have heard, of course, the tale of sorrow of workers who have been owed donkey years of unpaid salaries. And this is an agrarian state, a state where possibly the only industry is education. And even though education is under attack, many of the state-owned educational institutions are nothing to write home about. It's a state in need of hope, in need of genuine governance, and all of that. But be as it may, I think going forward is the fact that what ought to be done right ought to be done properly right, without any affiliation or flair for any political gladiator in this circumstance. It is part of strengthening the institutions of democracy, and from there we can take the conversation forward.
All right, thank you so much. Barrister Olubayo, your final word on this.
Well, I would like to just hinge on what Mr. Justice said the other time. For me, there is a conspiracy against the judiciary in this nation. Now, if the executive failed and the legislature failed, now the judiciary, and by the conspiracy, what played out in Honorable Justice Onoge's matter, a heavy conspiracy against the judiciary, because that is the last hope of the nation. So now everything is before the court. They have done their politics, they have done whatever they want to do, the law is there. Now it is now left for the courts to apply the law, and also, and that there are times in which even the courts make laws. They are called case laws. They make judicial statements. They should be able to do, at this point, the judiciary should be able to save the face of Nigerians.
Well, thank you so much. Barrister Uhebo, your last word on this.
The truth is that in governance, for us to get good governance in any country, we must tell ourselves the truth, and we must always have leaders with passion. My brother said something. Judgments at times can be given based on public interest. Before you even talk about law and all the rights. Now, when judgments are given by a court, it becomes a precedent, it becomes law. And not until that judgment is set aside, nothing can happen. So, what the judges should be careful is to be careful not to play politics. Like Nikki Toby said in one of his judgments, when he was in Supreme Court, he said that the difference between the judges and the politicians, because the politicians are partisans, while the judges are partisan. So they should always look at the rules and look at the facts, knowing that they are trying to correct something that will occur in future. So as judges and as judiciary, the problem we're having nowadays is that, yes, there's no department of the executive you go today that you don't see legal department. And that is why most times when you begin to appoint lawyers into positions and all the rest, they become politicians overnight. They now forget their constituency. Yes. They now forget where we're coming from. They now forget that the law is supposed to be the order of the day in order to strengthen our democracy.
All right, thank you so much. We'll just rest it at that. We'll talk about security briefly as we round off. The Nigerian Senate has resolved to summon the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, to come brief it on steps being taken to address the issues of the worsening spate of banditry and kidnappings in Nigeria. This followed the consideration during plenary Thursday of a motion titled Senseless Killing of Obriton and the Abduction of 3 others in a holiday resort in Kaduna State by armed bandits. We'll just give you highlights from that plenary session, and we'll just come talk about it briefly. Stay with us.
Distinguished colleagues, you will be astonished to hear that the kidnappers had the audacity to ride and warn a member representing Bindingwari local government in the House of Representatives, Honorable Hassan Adamu, warning him of his activities, thereby forcing him to evacuate his family from the area.
It is also important for us to take this seriously because of the national image that we need to protect. And if it means declaring a national state of emergency across Nigeria to enable the government to put in place measures that will address this once and for all, I think it is worth doing. So this is something we need to do seriously. And I believe that with what has happened to the Briton, it is important that we show the whole world that we are eager to solve this problem.
Until our youths are engaged, Mr. President, this problem will continue to be with us. That is one. 2, let us be realistic I am saying this based on what I heard Mr. President say. Our lifestyle laid foundation for all this.
I want to commend them for the role played in trying to ensure that there is no rigging there in the election, no rigging there in the election, in this town or that town. But this is where the kind of role they played is more needed. If we can have a massive deployment of security operatives to some of these flashpoints, I am telling you, these criminals will be smoked out.
Address a holistic approach, and I thought we should have had a prayer to also do in line with some of the work we have done so far. If you remember, as a writer, we had done a retreat, we had done a report, and we had done a few recommendations. And if you can recollect, we even invited the heads of the security agencies here and directed them to submit to us what their needs were. And there was no response to date.
And the other one that was not interested in discussing with us is gone.
All right, welcome back. It's still democracy and the rule of law. In our closing moments on the show, we'll be looking at the state of security and what we need to do. Gentlemen, I know you're all lawyers, not security consultants, but you actually know the law and know about how the state should actually protect the lives and property of the people. Now, looking at all of this, the killings have gone unabated. Senselessly, Nigerians, even foreigners, are being killed. I want to get submissions from the three of you very quickly. What is the way forward to all of this security issue? Summoning the IGP, how far will it go?
Well, for me, the reality is that the background of the killings and insecurity is the total collapse of the socio-economic fabric in the country. Just as one of the parliamentarians said, where you have more than 70% unemployment, you cannot slim with two eyes closed in that kind of society. And now in less than 30 days from now or so, a new set of leadership will be sworn in. But what hope are the masses expecting from that new leadership? Virtually, there is a climate of despair, climate of hopelessness in the country. Without us fundamentally resolving the socio-economic inequality in this country, a country that has now been described as the poverty capital of the world, where we are able to for instance, put the commanders of the economy, just as the chapter 2 of the Constitution has said, into the commandant of the country will not just be partitioned by some few elite. It will be to be employed to cater for education, to cater for healthcare, to cater for housing. Without that, no matter the number of policemen and the officers of our forces being deployed over the country, there's no end in sight to insecurity.
Okay, Barrister Olubayo, your submission
on that issue of security, I don't think inviting the IGP is the solution to this matter. There's a particular video that went viral. I don't know whether you saw it, when a man said that a police station in Nigeria has 15,000 naira to run a police station for a month. That's the beginning. Insecurity, it's something that is deeply rooted in the fact that our society is corrupt. The monies are supposed to be, moved or spent on getting gadgets and equipment that will help us in insecurity have been spent corruptly. So my own submission is, let's still go back to the roots. Until we have a leadership that is committed to the welfare and security of the people, you can invite the IG will make a submission, so he will say whatever he wants to say, he goes back. What about the resources needed? And to be sincere, as a legal practitioner, when I saw the video, and when I look at practically the things I face when I go to police station and some of these law enforcement agents, I agree completely that police in Nigeria, they are in trouble. And if they are in trouble, we're in trouble. That's my submission.
Okay, finally from you, Barrister Justice.
Well, you know why I'm laughing?
No, why are you laughing?
Because I've said it severally. Without fear or favor, we can never make any headway in security in this country, except certain things are put in place. One, have you asked yourself the reason why the Constitution in its wisdom said that the main aim of government is for the welfare and security of the citizens? Welfare first before security. What that connotes is this: if there is a good welfare package for the citizens, security will be at a minimal rate. Today, many of our youths, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, something happened at Agege. They say they call them people, and they go in hundreds. They said about 70, 80 of them march from Abatua down to Tabo, down to Underbridge, obtaining things from people, beating people, and nothing will happen. That is poverty.
Exactly.
These youths have nothing to do, and somebody is out there saying that he's a governor, he's a president, and all the rest. So what are we doing? The truth about it is this: it's all about good governance, whether we like it or not. If not, we're going to have more groups worse than Boko Haram and worse than Fulani herdsmen. And these things are very simple. To create job opportunities, to make people be busy. It's very simple to do. But the problem is that our government, the people that say they are leaders, have refused in total to do anything. Now they are talking about this in the floor of the House. Why? Because foreigners were involved. What of Nigerians that are being killed every day? Go to my state, Imo State, there's kidnapping every day. People are being died. You never talked about them. Just because foreigners are involved now, you are not saying it in the floor of the House. Now the Senate has come up with what they call the Police Reform Act, or what? Trying to make mockery and rubbish of themselves. How can you now say if a policeman kills somebody, the person will go to 2 years imprisonment with an option of fine of 1 million? So which means that a policeman can give a policeman 1 million to go and kill somebody. Do these people actually know what they are doing? And you say you want to tackle security. So even if you want to summon the IG 100 times, is it today they are summoning IG? Or has anything come out of it? You're talking about welfare. Go to police stations, go to their barracks. You see what's happening there. You cry for them. Are they not human beings? Are they not Nigerians?
All right, well said, gentlemen. We've been looking at the state of security as the Senate summons the IGP over the state of armed banditry and kidnappings across major states in the country. Just before we discussed that, we looked at the Osun Governorship Tussle. And here in the studios, we want to say a very big thank you to our panel that joined us this afternoon. Many thanks to Barrister Ayo Ademili. We appreciate it. And of course, jointly, we'll say thank you to Barrister Olubayo Durojaye. Thanks for joining us today on the show. Okay. And of course, Barrister Justice Ohwebu. Many thanks for being a part of the show.
Thank you. It is my pleasure.
All right. And my name is Justin Academy. Many thanks to all of you who have joined us, watched us from wherever you are, and those who have also contributed. We do appreciate it. Democracy and the rule of law returns again 1 p.m. on Sunday. Bye for now.